All right, all right, all right. Yes, sir. Let me get a little more comfortable. That's probably good. Ding. Yes, sir. Welcome to Ocean Waves episode 20, day 7 of the Gauntlet. Officially caught up. This is the 20th week since the start of the Ocean Waves podcast, and we are now at episode 20. Yesterday I said I'm going to post 12 on Wednesday, which was yesterday, or today, I mean, and then I was going to post 13 on Friday, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to post 13 next week, and then starting at the Gauntlet, which was 14, start posting multiple in the week. But that'll give us some time to get the little ideas that we had as far as extra little visual graphics for the podcast for different instances that happen during it that may or may not occur. So in order for us to realistically to have enough time to complete these ideas, we would need a couple weeks. So that's what I'm gonna do. I did 12 this week. I'll do 13 next week, and then I'll start putting out multiple a week until we catch up to the point where, like, say it gets to 24. Like, if 24 is out and the next week's supposed to be 25, then I'll stop. Obviously, because then there won't be any more to post. And then as time goes on, if we do multiple in a week or whatever, we'll figure out, there'll be evolution, so we'll figure that out as time goes, yeah, I'm probably going to stop the Gauntlet after tomorrow, probably take down the setup. Whether we do one in this room next week or not, we'll see. But and as we move into the new room and we make that the new, and we like get comfortable in there, and we start visualizing setups for that, maybe we'll incorporate more angles, just so it's not one flat angle. But the flat angles it's not the worst thing either, because I know by the time this comes out, the Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams interview will have been, a month old at least. So, it's not like I'm saying it right now. It seems like maybe just because I watched it now, like my social medias, that's like more around centered, but I don't know where I'd see more of it. But it just seems like that would, like, a lot of people have watched that interview, it feels like. So in that sense, that was saying that is just it is like one flat screen, and then they do go, like, have to zoom in. So I guess it's not. For a minute I thought it was just, I couldn't remember. I do remember them zooming in. So there's still a little more, but I'm sure I think that's a big thing, having the zoom in on the faces. Just that adds a little to it. So I think we'll get there at some point. I definitely want it to become like a solid production all around. But I think what I said the other day about it, I think is also true and resonant, in that at this moment, the people who are listening now aren't watching because it's like the perfect production. So you guys who are listening to this now are the first 100, 200 people to listen to this. They're going to listen to it, and because you want to hear what I'm saying, or it's the words, that's what you're coming for, not a movie, for instance. So because of that, I do appreciate that, and I also know that there's something to that where I remember some of my favorite artists. I think I shouted them out yesterday. Um, I remember that if you listen to them like their first songs and then forward like their early songs and then like now or whatever, you can tell that the production is like way better and all of that. But at the time, I wasn't even thinking about it. Was just sounded lit, man. It sounded how it was supposed to sound. It wasn't like doesn't have to be perfect. It just whatever it's supposed to sound like is how it's gonna sound like. And then if it's not quality, if you're gonna compare it to whatever as far as production wise compared to other songs, if the lyrics are there and the feelings there, then the song will always be great and reign supreme. But then you'll also see the progression of these people, of these artists, as instead of it just being the same song, you hear the same song all the time, or like the same like type of beat. It's just like there's no diversity in that sense. So, but being able to just watch people progress, that's part of seeing how great they are, and then like, dang, this was great, as well. And it's just what your perspective is. So, in one way, it is great now, even with just the one angle flat, But as far as for me, my timeline in the moment, like, you always have the time to do different things, but is that time, is it worth me putting extra time into the little production aspects of it, or is it more interest in my time to work on the music and just do podcast, just be speaking, because that's what it's supposed to be about, what you hear and what you talk, the conversation anyway. So because of that, it's like it doesn't need to be this movie right away. So I think my time is probably spent better doing other things and just making sure that this continues on at least once a week on that track, if not more. And Jason's right in the sense of doing more, like, so if he brings it up on Friday to keep going, then, and he wants to do it, then I'll do it with him. But doesn't feel like that's gonna happen. He did offer to open up the new Disney cards we got, the Lorcana cards, and just kind of go through that. But I kind of just felt like speaking versus like doing that right now. And I kind of just wanted, like, I didn't really want to know. Like, there's some things like I just don't really know. Like, it's good to record for getting content reasons, or just to like, even like home video. It's good to record, but sometimes it's just like being in the moment is good enough, So I don't really know if we need to be on camera for everything we do, So I don't know. I just felt like right now, I just rather have spoken. I would, of course, liked him to be on here too. But I can tell that that's what he wanted to do. So if he was going to stay up, that's what he'd rather do. So it makes sense, I didn't think I was going to be alone on this one, but it's 1:38 now. I did everything else I wanted to do in the day and had to accomplish. And my obligations for the day. It was someone's birthday today, And when it's someone's birthday, you always want to make sure you're there for them, or make them do your part to make them feel whatever they want to, however they feel, but just be there for them, have a good time. So that was part of my day today. I got blessed to go into work and not really have to be there, so they let me go right away, which is nice, which is cool, because that's what's cool about that spot versus my other spot. My other spot is likely to, in the history of me working there, they're likely to hold you. Now I'm personally scheduled in a way that they don't really hold me, but there is people that someone's going to get held up. Someone's got to be there, right? So if it's slow, no one wants to be there, obviously. It's tough to make little money and, whatever. But it is cool that on the other side that they're knowledgeable about that, and since I'm the new guy and everything, like I think in that spot, like I'm cool with having a minimal role, and like if I really need more and I see there's potential for more for me to be there, then grab more. But just kind of wait it out. I think some people are leaving soon, so just enjoy what it is for now, and because some days I'll have to be there to work, even if it's slower, and be one of the people that are held there, So I'm blessed about that. Had a good day. Yeah, but just to say for them, like, I'm not faulting them for not coming. I'm not sure what they did today. So, in that sense, like, they could have done something great, or very necessary or whatever, that they could have avoided a roadblock or got through a roadblock or whatever, just made it so that their next days are better as well. Like, that's something to that. Like if you have, if you know that it's going to rain a lot for the next week, and that means it's going to flood, then, if you build the dam now, then when the rain comes, you'll have a way easier time, and you'll be able to do what you want to do those days, instead of trying to fix what the flood might have broken or whatever. So in that perspective, they definitely get some water. They definitely could have been doing something that was very necessary and important. So I can never fault them for not coming. So, but at this point, I'm comfortable enough to just do one by myself. But it definitely probably looks weird with some of the mics still set up. I've just left the room like this the whole week, so I didn't feel it. Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure they're all gonna be here, because that's the normal day. So at that point, we'll take it all down. At that point, so that has been my thought. So, and we'll see what happens. But I just can't help but feel like if they were gonna, like, say it was like, if they knew that if they came here, they would get $50 per podcast if you just come and show up and just be you on the mic and whatever, If that was the case, I feel like they would be here, because it'd be like, oh shit, I'm making money too, $50, might as well, blah, blah, blah. But the way I look at it is that right now we might not get $50, but soon, or sometime down the road, if we stick the course and we stay honest and we keep our roles, that this might be a fruitful source, and just another thing that we do as the group, right? Which has been. We're 20 weeks in. Me catching up is proof of the dedication to myself and Oceans on Arrival, and what we're doing on all fronts and all levels. So, and and now I'm sure there's people that podcast every day. There's streamers that stream every day. So it's not like, if you compare it to other people, it probably is not like the biggest feat in the world of doing it. But in my life, just like just every day doing at least an hour, and the past couple have been like over 2, at least doing that, like, just getting you in that routine, and just when you say you're gonna do something, do it. Like, now I've proved tomorrow, once I record 8, boom, I have proven to the universe that I'm here to do this. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not lying. I'm here to put myself in as many positions as possible to influence people for better, and to influence them to help themselves, and for all of us to grow and connect before it's too late. So and that means that means the music, that means just me and my day to day when I see people around, or when, like, just, trying to just be the best version of yourself as you can be in each day, and you know, let go of the negative, let go of the things that are holding you down or back, or uh yeah, in different ways. And and so for me doing this is just like, it is proof that I'm willing to do the work. I'm willing to put in the time, the effort, even if it is to talk to 30 people, who will hear it at some point down the road. Like, I'm not even talking to them right now. And at one point, it could be live. Like, there's so much room for progression that we will see what happens. And, and I think as long as I continue my role, now that after tomorrow, there is not like a contract where I have to do one every day, but I have to do them every week at least, and I think maybe the past couple are probably going to be the first solo ones of mine are probably going to be a little weird, because it would almost just be like a podcast for myself, maybe, in that sense, where it's like I'm really just talking to myself at this moment, and to the future people who will listen, or even when I go back and I listen and I catch up on the listening side or the viewing side. So I always get scared when I hear my knee crack, like my fucking ACL just popped or something. It's always such, because that's what you hear people say when they hear it pop, so because that would be a detriment, because my job involves like moving around, so hopefully one day it can be this, locked in the studio, locked in the creation studio, locked in the ideal room. I think as a whole, Oceans on Arrival has been filling the holes of the ship, and we only have so many crew mates at this point. Some have gone on their own adventures for the moment, they're on their side quests. Some don't know that they're crew members yet, maybe, or that they could be, and some haven't had the chance. So because we only have so many people at the moment, it takes a lot of people to run the ship. And if you don't have enough people, then what do? You have to divvy up the extra tasks, so, and it's not a force, it's by natural that it has to be, like, we have to do it for us to be able to float and sail across seas, right? So in that mindset and that idea, it's not like where you go to work and it's like everyone's forcing you to pick a job or do. It's like, you go, like, you're on the ship. We're all on the ship now, and it's like, what do you want to do? And sometimes it takes some time to figure out exactly what you want to do, or what you are actually supposed to be doing or good at. And sometimes it takes just being in the right space or around the right people enough to give you the time to do that. Because like maybe in like an NFL game, there's only so much time for a quarterback to figure it out before they give up on him, or before he gets hit too many times. So it's like, but here in this thing, in this energy, in this way we're doing it, there's in between, what's the rush, why wait, right? So it's not you can't wait forever, but as long as you're actively taking the steps to acquire that knowledge, or to find that understanding, or to let go of what you need to let go, and just be in that spot where you are operating on full cylinders on all levels that you possibly can, maximizing every moment you can whether it's maximizing rest, maximizing relaxation, maximizing hard work, maximizing third dimensional jobs to make the money for now, maximizing your effort in the studio, effort in every different aspect of life, you know. So, but yeah, that's where Ocean Zone Arrival is at. I think right now we've plugged. It seems like most of the holes are plugged, and maybe we have some ones that will bust up. We have to like refill at some point, but you know. And I think now that we can, once there's a couple more things that will need to happen, and then once those things happen, we'll be sailing and we'll be moving smoothly, I think. And there might be some storms and whatever, but I think we'll be able to weather them, and it will make us better if we do face those things. And we will, at the end of the day, we're honest people doing something honest because we care. And there's not too many people like that. So if we're blessed enough to, if we're blessed enough to be given the opportunity to reach more people, and that would be great, obviously, but that in turn means doing your part to give the effort for the quality and deliver the correct message that you are receiving to pass on to others, you know, and staying honest. And if you're on a path to better yourself, you know, and you're on a path for progression and growth and love and knowledge and unity, you know, eventually you will make the right steps. That's how I feel, you know. And if you have more people around you, the better chance you have, you know. Because even if you're the greatest, like you're the smartest person ever, and you know, you versus 100 armored up soldiers, you know, that's a tough battle. Maybe they'll still win if it's the last chance for life, then they'll definitely win, you know. But for on just a normal tip, you know, by having more people will even the playing field, work together, strategy, you know. It's like dropping in on Fortnite, one person, you're the only target, and everyone else in the lobby is trying to fight you, you know. But if you have a squad of the more people you have, the better chance you have to beat those 99, even if they're bots, you know, and they're on easy. Like if you make one wrong move, then and you're 3v1 or 4v1, then you might go down, you know. So, but not that you will. There's always possibilities in each moment, in each event, you know. And I think that it's like whatever it's called when like one decision influences the next, you know, where it's like if you do this, it'll influence the next decision and what opportunities you may have and everything like that, abilities. So, you know, going in those, I kind of lost my train of thought there, honestly. Probably good. Probably something I already touched on at some point. That's probably why. But, yeah, feeling good. Had a good day. Anything crazy I saw? A lot of changes in the sports world. Nick Saban retiring. Pete Carroll not coaching the Seahawks anymore. A lot of teams fired coaches. A lot of teams are looking for the Ravens coaches. I'm interested to see what Todd Monken does. The defensive coordinator for the McDonald, he seems like he would really want to be a head coach. Maybe Todd Monken too. I don't know, but he feels like he's more probably gonna leave you know. But just since Todd Monken only came for the 1 year so far from Georgia, he's won titles before. Does he really need to be the head coach at the moment? If he takes Lamar Jackson a couple of Super Bowls, then you can get a fat coaching contract probably somewhere, or maybe wait for the team that he wants to open up in that sense. So in that way, I hope that he does stay because it seems like we're doing pretty good, man. Number one in the league. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited to go up there. Shout out to all my friends up there. Shout out to the couple boys, the homies. You know. Um, but yeah, I've been saying the Ravens have been nice for a couple of years, so I'm I'm definitely confident in their ability to, in especially in a untouched game, win it all. But we'll see how it goes. You never know. I think that's where I was going with the other, like the one thing leads to another. Like it's not like this one event is gonna go down. Like even if the outcome needs to be this, or the outcome is gonna be this, then it's just about how it all unfolds is the question now, right? So what's the point of reaching a destination if you don't enjoy the journey? Gotta enjoy the journey, enjoy the little moments. I took the long way home. You know, took an extra second to just keep whatever thought train I was on at that moment or that feeling, or I think I was listening to my music or the new music, because it's not like I don't have a song that's like done yet, or like I might have a couple that every song I need to go in there and do something to before it's ready to be mixed, you know, and then I'll go through the mixing phase, and then I'll go through the second wave of the mix, as well as what extra ideas did we think of or can we throw in there. Just like when I was talking about the podcast, just like the little extra little edits to just make it a little more elegant, a little more fun, keep you engaged, excited, you know, fresh. I don't want to get like mundane or like I get it, I get the point. I don't want the I get the point, I want the like yes, I feel that, So and I think that I will get there, and the hardest part is the self-conscious part, or like that thing, or like oh it's not good enough or whatever. And I think it's some of the stuff I can do better on and I will do, and some of the stuff is like that's what it is. Like it's not supposed to be polished like that. That those tracks from 2000, 12 and 13 and 14 are fire, man. Even better than some of the ones that are out now, most of them, and it's like the more polished it isn't even as nice, because it just feels like it's trying to fit this certain standard versus like just creating music for the joy and the passion and the love and the creation aspect of just creating something, that's true to you. It's a beautiful thing. And I think a lot of people might be missing that. Like, if I really am down bad, like, it's usually because I haven't been in the studio, and then life is affecting me negatively as well. And then now I'm just wrapped because I'm not operating on any cylinders at that point, So it's like, but I can go to the studio, or I guess I can come to a podcast now and just release my feelings and thoughts. And I think that's why it's almost scarier to do one by yourself, because you're filling up the whole time, and it's all of your thoughts, or the thoughts you're collecting or whatever. And because I know I'm on the mic, maybe I'm not going, I guess I am doing a pretty good job of not going too deep, in the sense of like something that maybe I should just be telling myself I still need to figure out first. And because I think when I was younger, when I was younger and I first started on the spiritual path, or that spiritual breakthrough, like you really you want to tell everybody, man. Like that's you just want to tell people like it's fucking like this dude like you know uh put on the like see it like see it from this angle, and uh but at that point I didn't understand that as much of the positive I was seeing, I didn't realize that there's also a negative force. And I saw that negative things happen, but I didn't. And then as you put things together and you realize, and technology was progressing so fast from 2000 like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, uh, by the time you really realize, that maybe you shouldn't be speaking so out, maybe like that. Not everyone wants to hear it. Not everyone needs to hear what you have to say. Some people maybe are trying to pry information out of you without you even knowing it, just like pretending like they're your friend or just acquaintances, and then you say something to them because maybe you're a little whatever, and then now they in this all the phones like so much recording of conversation and all that stuff that it's like if say you're playing like GTA and always you're driving, then all of a sudden like they put like a big barricade in front of you like 30 yards away, and you gotta like either drive around, you gotta figure out what you're gonna break it down. Maybe Fortnite's a good explanation. You're driving, then boom, But they do that in games where if you walk this path, then this event happens. So they do put roadblocks in games like that anyway. But in that sense where it's like, okay, say like I say I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven after this, even though there's not really any 7-Elevens around here, so that's definitely a gas station or like a convenience store that I miss. But say I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven right after this, and we're live, you know, or even if you just tell like, even if you're just like, you call your mom and you're like, I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven, blah blah blah. Now by saying that out loud, there's a chance that that something will happen at the 7-Eleven, or they will like maybe there's a dude who asks you for money at the 7-Eleven now, just that idea of them being able to just influence things in that like herd you into like when sheep like the sheep like when the dog what's the like not retrieving dogs when like Sheltie, one of those the herding dogs, they like herd the sheep and they run around and bark them, so it's like they'll try to like um maybe you see the light is red up there, so you turn right the turn earlier, like all those things. If it was green, you would have just kept going forward. So all those little things, you know so by the time you realize that and you're in your like, oh, maybe I don't need to be telling everyone I know, everyone I see, everything I think. You got to tell the people that want to listen or need to hear it, or you have to feel like this person is a person, whether they're sad, whatever it is, going through whatever, but they're just a genuine human being, and they're trying to figure it out, or they're trying to, or they are just at the end just genuine human beings, and that's the people that I want to talk to. That's the people that I really hope to influence, because there are genuine human beings who have been herded into this mundane job or this mundane lifestyle where life can kind of seem like it's a negative, just every day feels negative, So, but, by the time you figure that out, all that out, it's too late, because technology is way more advanced. There's so many things that have happened. And it's like, now basically, if there's one army and you're a civilian and they're like, who's your allegiance, and you say nobody, but then you fucking, or them, but then you're out and drinking a bar and you tell your who you think is your friend, whatever, and then boom, boom. Now they're like, oh, you're not. They'll always now it's like, oh, he's not part of us. Blah 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 blah. Like you've been uh marked, or you've been, what's a good word? Um, Flagged or whatever, or pushed into a category of like these people. Certain people are just put a predisposed uh thought on you of who you are before someone might meet you if they have access to that information or whatever. So, and now at this point, like, that I don't know, it's like it feels like we're at this point. We've been closer now than ever for it to be like exposed, like to for this society to the way we look at it fall, and it's like what, like almost like ripping the blanket off in a certain way once they're ready, once they have put the next blanket, once they've pulled that tarp under the other tarp, they'll pull that one, it'll be a different color, it'll be a different whatever, and you'll see it like, oh my gosh, oh, but meanwhile they've already covered up, like, they're not gonna make weed legal or decriminalize it all the way until they can make money off of it. They're not gonna make it all around the country until this it's proved, until all the states were like, we want money, we want that tax money, so we're gonna do it too. Well, it's more money than the prison, and you figure out who you can fill the prisons with, or different, or fill that like, is the tax money from the marijuana and that economic business entity, I guess. Does that make more money than fines and arrests and all that? And then if it does, okay, then what are you going to do with this? How are you going to make the money? Pull more people over, blah, blah, okay, DUI with smoking weed now, blah, blah, all these different tax it, so they're always going to make sure they dot their T's, or dot the I's and cross it. Maybe, yeah, dot the T's, cross the I's, to ensure that they maintain a level of control in that sheep herding, and the best way is for you to think that like if people are the sheep, it's best they don't want you to think that there is a Sheltie herding you in. They want you thinking that it's like they'll want you to think that it's another sheep and you're like following him, so I don't know, at this point it's just weird what like a normal conversation would entail in the third dimensional conversation would entail 10 years ago to now. It's just so different. Like aliens, you'd be viewed at as crazy, and the pedophilia shit was so under wraps. I don't really understand why they're like, if that shit drops with like the list and like that's gonna be such a crazy shift. So I don't know I don't really understand. I don't know exactly what's the point of, or why they're slowly dropping that aliens are here. You see like more, or whatever, versus like just them it just being known or whatever. I don't know, but it's definitely one of those. Maybe it's those things where you want to like spoon feed spoon feed babies. Like you give them little by little until they can handle a bigger scoop or an actual meal, or sustain life on their own. I don't know. But, and even so, even saying all that is still like, I could not post this and I could be like, oh, that was too obvious or whatever, and not post it. Oh, only 30 people are going to listen to it anyway, blah, blah, blah. But at this point, like, it's like, that's how I am. That's the point of this. The point is to be honest. The point is to whatever, say how I feel in the moment or what the message needs to be. I feel like I'm good at getting to that point where I can speak that. And like I said earlier, like I think I was just, even that was a little taste of what I was saying, like not getting too deep in the sense of not relaying, like I'm gonna, like there's so many other thoughts that you might have, but maybe you need to say them out loud and not and record it to hear it, or to fine tune that thought, like almost like a joke in comedy. Like if you have like a 3-minute setup joke and then you start banging in like bang 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 bang, like funny punches, boom boom boom. Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, like they're great at that. And you do one of those, it's like, okay, it takes like 3 minutes to set up, boom, 3 minutes to get into that headspace, in which in that headspace, like thought after thought after thought, they're all like boom, 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 just coming in, making sense. You're processing, like receiving, learning, like growing, progressing, and just like a joke, like in that sense, it's not ever done. Like there's always fine tuning the joke. There's always, so when I'm here, it's like that process of fine tuning. It's like you gotta go through, get the thoughts. Subconsciously, I'm grabbing the thoughts and I'm processing how to relay them in a good manner. That it's not one that's gonna ping your red flag score, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, even if you say like nothing crazy, like even if you just talk about like the Epstein shit and blah blah, and this was like 5 years ago, if you had 2 million followers versus 2, like your life would be influenced more by the outside entities, because at the time they didn't want it talked about as much. They didn't want that to be really known, I don't think, unless they eventually they did. But because at this moment I don't have 2 million people listening to me, I'm not as fearful that anything will happen. Or I feel safe. I feel like I'm all right. I feel like I'm good. I feel like I'll wake up tomorrow. I still appreciate when I do wake up, but I feel like I will, so we'll be all right. But even so, when I do have the 2 million, I'm not going to change what I'm doing, but at the same time, like there's some things that you should layer in. There's some, but at the end of the day, I'm going to speak truly and how I feel, but I'm going to filter and I'm going to fine tune that joke, fine tune that thought to be able to deliver it in the best way possible, and whether it's by metaphor, whether it's as blunt as you can be, whether it's a 3-minute setup where I'm gonna lead you into this thought, where you can come into the house of this thought and look around and then see how you feel about it, versus just looking from the outside and seeing how the outside looks and maybe not understanding why do they have a gnome in their garden, or why do they have a porch swing, or why don't they take care, all those things. And it's like, but then inside the house could be whatever. It could be beautiful, could be whatever. So, but at that time, like so subconsciously, and by doing this, by doing more solos, I'll fine tune that even more and get to the point where, if I do bring up a topic, you don't slip up the wording where some topics you don't need to be as obvious when you're saying them. Some topics you need to be obvious, like, because like we talked about before, words mean different meanings and different, like the word like there is spelled differently. There's two, but when you say it, like, it's the context clues around the other words that allow you to understand what that person is saying. So in that, there's so much translation that can be used, and so sometimes you have to be blunt to, and like really to get, because you could say it in one, like like you could say a word in a certain sentence, and then it might come off like the other person might not receive the exact message that you want them. Like if you just say like over here, you know what I mean? Like people aren't gonna like, oh, like I'm over here, you know. Like if you're playing, this happens to us sometimes when we're playing Fortnite. Like, you know, like we're over, like if you say they're over here, but you don't ping or you don't whatever, like how are you supposed to know what? But if you say over like over there behind the tree, and in Fortnite you can ping, you know. So if you ping the right set of words in the metaphor, if you ping the right, if you say that, you know, uh like if you lead up the idea, say you're using like crayons in a coloring book and you're referencing something in life to crayons in a coloring book, but you say the right words, the right stencil, you describe the page the right way, how the book looks, you know, and you use all the different metaphors to get someone to understand what you're trying to say or whatever, you know, that's art, and that is something that takes smoothing out as well. And some things are best left like that, left for interpretation, thought, uh, one, even some things like there be lines in music that you might not understand when you're, and then like 3 months later something happened in your life or whatever, and then you understand or you saw it, like that word, or you can reference, you know, that reference, and then that whole, because you know the reference, if it's like a movie character and then you saw the movie, now you can, that whole thing, that whole context of whatever that lyric was, that your perception of it might change. But then at the time when you first heard it, also you thought of it in a certain way. So that's the beauty of art, where people can interpret it and receive it in different ways. And some songs and some paintings and some are supposed to, you know, be like that, left for interpretation, thought, cliffhangers, you know. And then the other side is sometimes it's supposed to be like ABCs. Like the ABCs is like a super blunt song. The point of the song is for you to remember them, you know. So, but if it was like A went to the Apple store, but the B went to the C went in, like that's too many words in between. Like these kids aren't gonna remember all those. They're gonna be like D, and it's supposed to be like D for the door, and then they say like D for the dinosaur, that's for the flight of boat. You know, those would go off on their own tangent. But you go A B C D E F G. You know, you could change up the way you say it, but the words, the letters are there, and they're gonna go in the same order every time, unless you go backwards, and they're gonna go backwards in the same order every time. And after you sing that song enough times, you know your letters. And if you ever forget, you can always, you know, go back to that song and figure out the letter you missed. Because after T, you'll remember you, you know. So you'll, and those things will happen. So, you know, and this is all good practice, you know. I mean, I don't think that I'll change up. But sometimes, you know, something might slip, something might be a little blunt that you probably shouldn't or whatever. And yes, if you're in Cat Williams' place or state where going on Shannon Sharp and that platform and Shannon Sharp allowing you to do that, it just got so many eyes so fast. And then what he says on it is why they're watching, you know, so that's crazy, you know. But also, this man has been doing comedy for years and years and years. He's been dedicated to his purpose and his passion, and his, you know, he stands on what he believes. He stands on who he is, you know, and he's fine-tuned these jokes, fine-tuned these thoughts. He's thought about these things. He's, you know, and all along the way, just like the South Park thing, if you need to, like, I'm sure if you go back and watch the Cat Williams specials, I think he said he's on 12 now. He's on 12. Like if you watch all 12 Cat Williams specials throughout time and all the little sub things, I'm sure you will be able to. It's like it'll be a history lesson from like just a perspective of a historian that guy's perspective of it, you know. And there will be jokes where Cat Williams will be blunt, and there will be jokes where he'll tiptoe around the corner, because you know the hardest things to find sometimes are right around the corner, and then but once you find them, you always know they're there, you know, and you can't help but remember and stuff like that. So and then but maybe you wouldn't have appreciated the flower if you saw it right when you walked in, but then you had to find it. Now you always remember what it was like when you found it, and yeah, stuff like that. That's a little good metaphor right there, you know. I remember there was one time in our lives with Jason that I would literally just speak like, cause there was like, we were just so like, when we were younger, we were best friends, and I did smack him the first time I saw him. They say, so they say, but maybe I was just trying to tell him like this, like getting ready, prepare for the world, you know, right off the bat. You know, so it's not. We didn't wake up in the what I say yesterday, the rainbows and the birds singing and the, you know, the love and the peace and the whatever. There you can find that stuff, but it's like the our surroundings are not that serene, you know. So, but then we were best friends for all of time, and then when we got a little older, like we had a little different friends or whatever, and I'm a year and a half older than them, so it was just like we started just going in like a little different directions, and then as like became my senior year or whatever, then we started like merging, and we used to fight in that little middle part, but then we started merging, and then like all this just spiritual, just the different, just like that path of life where you hop off the third dimensional train and you start walking, you know. And he went far, and then I had caught up, and then it felt like in different scenarios we were like this, and even today it's like that, like different scenarios he's like this and I'm here, and different scenarios I'm like, and then we help each other get to where we're like that, you know. And then there just came to a time where it felt like I had gotten to that place, but he had gotten like so far that he couldn't like come back to shore, and I was still like where I can like touch. And I was kind of just moving like on my pace out there while he like kind of swam in, almost like if a wave like the undertow took you out and then you're trying to like get your weight back. And not in the sense of that he was the way you look at it, in a bad way, in a good way, like, you know, just in a space, not in like a mundane state at all, but in just a space of that many people can't even begin to understand, you know. So at that point, the way we communicated was through metaphor, because the third dimensional, straightforward, blunt wasn't the we weren't going to be able to find. We weren't going to be able to. It wasn't the language. It was almost like we had different languages at that point, you know. So at that time, I remember just speaking metaphor hella all the time, you know. And eventually, one thing led to another. Divine moments, so many things that I feel like anyone who takes similar paths to or like just things we were doing, like I'm sure people have crazy moments with their friends or with their family or whatever that you might not really tell other people unless it's like, you know, that they're genuine or whatever, you know. It's just, but those moments are like so defining in our lives, and it just felt like all those moments were so real. And it feels like some of they try to, like, some of these moments don't feel as real. Maybe they're scripted, or maybe they're influenced in a way that not as natural. Some of these things that go on, So it's like, but those moments were so real and so influential to our lives now. And so after that, I think I always it just became part of, that was my practice, metaphors and stuff. So, because everyone's on a different frequency, like everyone, it's like elevator, like floors. Everyone's on a different floor at different times. And if you can get to the same floor at the same time, it's a beautiful thing, man. Connection, love, you know, uh, opening doors. It's just such a crazy, man. It's so wild. Life is so wild. The universe, so many things are so crazy about the world, and it's unfortunate that they don't teach. That we, as a society, as a collective, we don't like teach the youth about, or as we don't try to search for these answers. All of us to pass on, and it's like, we're trying to pass off like money, like, and for our kids to be better, and like when really like knowledge and understanding of what Earth is and all, like, where are we doing here, and and they say, I guess that's what religion and stuff does in certain ways, but but just like without anyone's opinion on it, but like what's just the facts that we know, and not anyone's spin. Like the news is now like someone's opinion on something that happened, instead of just like being like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, good, bad, whatever it was. Now it's just like bad, fear, anxiety, boom, confusion, so much stuff that it could be like could be good. Um, yeah. Now that is unexpected. I don't know if it's gonna be on here. I don't know. Maybe if I talk, it will not be on the mic. So I'll just keep talking for now, and maybe that's a sign to wrap it up here in a little bit. So when I get to this part, I may or may not have to edit, and if so, then if not, then we'll continue, and if so, I'll begin here. Um, but yeah, I just feel like there's so much that happens in life. We're in a crazy time now with technology and the way people and what's being talked about and whatever. So I'm excited to see what happens. I always have faith that the people will prevail. We'll find our strength together. We'll all band together, and we'll all start floating, flying around and shit. I always have that like hope, and I always, that's the point. Like, what's the like you? Oh, like that's how we keep going. Just the hope of that, and then and then in the levels to it of, okay, that's if that's the real, if that's the biggest goal, then how. And when we were talking about the New Year's resolutions, internal, external, that's an external resolution because it's not fully reliant on you. So then you have to, if that's then okay, what about my internal ones? And find those internal resolutions and do those. And hopefully those, by the time you finish those, it will lead to the end goal, By the end of the day, just trying to be able to smile, whether it's rain or shine, see the beautiful parts of life, spread the knowledge, the love that you have, guide the youth that are coming up in this world that is very much a bully world in a way. And I hope that we come together as people and enough, and we can find a place where the people who want to connect can connect, and it won't. And we take a stand, and we hopefully eliminate this fucking advertisement farm, like this wave of stuff that's been going on, you know, and help our fellow human beings, brothers, sisters, moms, dads, help them find clarity and peace within themselves, because that's all we need is peace, clarity, love, and we'll all move forward. We'll all naturally naturally want to grow naturally, you know. But society in a way wants us to think that we can't, or the things that the ways that the ways that you are meant to grow, like, if some reason they can persuade you that playing the piano is not cool or whatever, and then you go and you do something else, but maybe you're supposed to be playing piano, that's tough for a kid. But if school systems were like you literally could try everything, eventually, like, you might get on that piano. You'd have a better chance of finding that piano early on than going 40 years and picking it up and feeling like you might have missed out and stuff like that. So, all that to say, I feel good. This has been episode 20. The Gauntlet, the 7-day Gauntlet, the 8-day Gauntlet. 8 will be tomorrow. 21 will technically be ahead. So we'll be in line for catching up. I hope that they do come tomorrow, so I don't have to break down this whole setup myself, for one. I hope they come so we can have a conversation that bounces off multiple minds. I hope that sometime soon when we get some guests on here, I would like to talk with other people as well. And that's something that maybe even will be part of the future of maybe, like, not everyone wants to be here every week, but maybe other people want to be here. So maybe I just hop on, whoever wants to talk to whoever's going to come on, like, just hops on. Part of me feels like I'll probably be a big part of this for the Ocean Waves journey. Just because maybe I have the most to gain from it, and spiritually, internally, maybe universally. Maybe it's just something that I'll be able to look back on as a memoir in a way, or my kids can look back on and see their dad when he was 27, and talk about times when he was younger. And, and I hope that anyone who's listening, I really want to know maybe something that you like about it, something that you don't like about it. I kind of just want a little bit of feedback maybe from the people who have listened. I have gotten some feedback, so those of you who have told me in person or over text, I have received that, and that, and I very much appreciate that and acknowledge that 100%. But for anyone who maybe I haven't been able to speak to, or I don't even know that they watch it, maybe leave a comment under this one and maybe say something that you like about it. Maybe a topic that you want to discuss. Maybe you want to come on and talk. I don't know. This is like, it's funny because right now it's so much in the early stage. I mean, even like Ocean on Arrival, like even before, like, if we're at the arrival or the tide, like this early stages of Ocean. The tide is such an early stage of Ocean on Arrival comparatively to now. And that was only in like 2020. So, 4 years later, it's still 3.5 years, like 3 or 4 years later, like between that time when we were all that stuff we were working on. it's crazy to think that where we are now, and and where we're gonna go. Like one day, I'm sure people are really gonna want to be on it. One day, I feel like it's gonna be a big thing, or it's gonna be a known thing. People are gonna want me on theirs. That's how I feel. You know, because I feel like that's what I'm here for. I'm here to do stuff like this. Here to make the music. Here to make the movies. I'm here to do that stuff. And if I wasn't gonna do this stuff, then I don't really know exactly why else I would be here. And I don't have like a girlfriend or anything right now. I haven't had sex in fucking since February or March, maybe March. I can't remember. I'm trying to think. Maybe March. Yeah, maybe like at least the first week of March, 2020, right before COVID, which is crazy. And it's not something I've longed for. It's not like I feel like I haven't gone these past 3 years, or about to be 4 years, like miserable. I just think that at the time I think I knew spiritually that this was going to happen. It was going to be like a while before I met someone else, or that I would even, and now it's like, it's so much as a back thought, in the sense of like, I'm not waking up every day like longing for a girlfriend, or trying to just meet someone to get a nut off or whatever. People, I remember in college I saw kids who would be going out to either find a girl to have sex with or fight and get like fucked up. Always get fucked up. That was always get fucked up. Look for a girl, a fight, and if not, like get home, drink more, and like just be destructive and just be like an animal or whatever. Just fucking go nuts. So that, like, seeing that, and I know, like, I can see when people are very influenced, like, I can see when, like, girls are very influenced by boy, like, just a lot of people are just trying to find their person and, start, like, whatever, and I can see that, and, like, obviously I would love to be starting a family and stuff like that, but it's not my time right now, but I don't, like, because once you do, if you, like, masturbate or whatever and stuff like that, like, it's not the same, obviously. You'd way better being with people, someone else, preferably the sexual orientation that you enjoy, or that, yeah, leave it at that, so, but I just feel like, my time will come eventually at some point, but one of my internal New Year's resolutions, I will actually speak it out loud to, I guess, prove it at next year, is to eliminate porn out of my life. Because I think I've seen enough videos that feels like I'm going too, like, feels like you search too deep for something. Like, you gotta find, like, looking for the next the next, like, and if you, like, in that mindset of, like, looking for girls or whatever, like, looking for the next girl, looking for the next smash, looking for the next whatever, the next party, looking for the next position to turn you, like, there's so many things that happen. I just feel like, and I feel like there's, I guess, I'm sure there's studies, like, I know people are more knowledgeable about me about the effects of porn, but I know it's not positive, so because of that, like, I haven't had sex in 4 years. I've definitely masturbated, and once you do, like, your thought process is different, and so I think I've just, at this point, I've grown accustomed to my way of life like this, so it's like, I don't, I don't dwell over what I don't have, and, at one point I was very, like, I think there was definitely a time where I was like, it didn't matter who's, like, there was some there were some people, and if you ever see this, you know who you are, obviously, that I could tell, like, I'm not an idiot. I got the signs. But then I was just like, I'm not going to. It was like, I could pursue this. This is something like and I'm sure that it would lead to something in one way or another. It would lead to, whether it was conversation, more like maybe like a more romantic side, whether it was hanging out outside of wherever I've seen these people or whatever. So many different little things, like just I can't think of the word, like starting that intimate relationship versus like just keeping it like playful, I guess. you know but now, like, I would definitely, and of course, like, I'm always receptive, like, I'm always like, now at this point, definitely now, like, at that point maybe not. This one I'm more like, I'm pinging, but just waiting for the ping back, or to hear it or feel it or whatever. And it's just a unique circumstance, and I'm not exactly sure how life will be in the next 6 months or 5 months. So once the album comes out and everything, maybe we'll see how it goes. But all that stuff will come when it's time. I've been with people before. I went to college. I went through the whole. I've seen the sign. I've seen the realities in the different ways, and unfortunately, how should I say this? Unfortunately, there's circumstances that you might not be able to avoid, or you had one chance and you didn't take it, in different ways. So even if you're the nicest person, even if you tell the truth all the time, it might not be reciprocated. So at this point, I feel like, for me personally, I've only had 2 girlfriends. I've been with, I'll just say it, I've been with 10 people. I've been with 10 people with full on intercourse. Yeah. You hooked up to where they saw you, you saw them, you made them feel a way, they made you feel a way, and you both left either satisfied or not. I don't know. So, there's okay. Let me backtrack so I don't whatever I don't know how to describe it, but there's definitely one person that I know that I did not satisfy, but I very much appreciate them for at the time what it was, and I learned a lot from that. And there's a couple people that I'm sure would be shocked to know that that person was disappointed because of the performance of those people. It just, I feel like I get, especially when I was I'm definitely super awkward in certain situations. I'm very awkward. So I know that, I can, it's so funny because I can blend in very well, but when a push comes to shove, I'm definitely slightly awkward in different ways. So because of that, I'm like, I don't know. I can see why, me, if I could go back now as 27 mind and go back into my mind then, I think I would shoot 100% from the free throw line. 100%. But it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant to be like that. It wasn't meant for that to happen. So, but just in that sense, I've had not everything possible, but I've done so many different. I've done the put yourself out there, for instance, but I've only had 2 girlfriends. So one of them, the first one was high school, and that one was very much a. I learned about women. I learned what it was to have a girlfriend. I learned the basics, I would say. The basics of the feminine energy that's not your family or, you know, and that you have these different, or you do, because I hadn't done anything with anyone besides like kissing a couple, maybe one or two, whatever, before this. So, uh, I pretty much learned how to please, learned how to please women, learn like this, the basics of what it means when you have a girlfriend, you know. And then I went to college. She was still in high school. She was tripping on me about smoking weed, and I was like, bruh. Pretty much like that. And then I just didn't know what to do at the time. And then, because it was just like, well, I'm not going to stop smoking weed. Like, you just don't understand, blah, blah, blah. I'm also at college. Like, I'm at college now. Like, my parents aren't telling me what to do. You're not really going to tell me what to do. You know, young-minded in that sense. And not being elegant with an articulate, right? Still awkward in different ways. So, but then she ended up basically saying that she wants to take a break. I was like, like, whatever. Like, what I'm like, I was basically done with the conversation. Like, I was just like, I'm literally at a party. I'm in college. I'm trying to enjoy myself. I'm trying to like meet people. Like, I'm not just trying to be on my phone dealing with, like, if I'm talking to my girlfriend, I'll rather be like about be like positive, or like actually something wrong, and let's like something that's not just like in that way felt. It was more. It was easier to not say anything than it was to go through all that, you know. So then she says we went on a break. One thing leads to another. I'm at a party. I pretty much used that opportunity to try to, I think, figure out like, yeah, I've had sex with someone else, and I felt like what it felt like to have sex with someone else, because I only had sex with the one person, and it was not as it was not as comfortable as having sex with my girlfriend. That was for sure. And then the next day, she like calls me back saying that she like didn't mean, like, I guess that the weed wasn't as important as me. You know, like, me smoking weed wasn't the end all of the relationship. I guess she like kind of came to that, and I was like, ooh. So I told her. She proceeds to tell me I'm a asshole, and how could you do this, and then of course you just feel like shit after that. You're like, damn, I'm kind of an asshole. But to be fair, I was not the one who implemented the break. I was not the one tripping. I was the one. I was just, circumstances led to another. We went on break while I was at a party. I was drunk, and the sly dog who had been eyeing me up, probably the first eye, like I was talking about earlier, where you can tell like one thing will lead to another, like where you actually take that trail, and not for like, yeah, just literally to have sex. Yeah, that was the first time I did that. Then, you know, uh, and I guess I'll say one of the reasons why I was uncomfortable is because she had one of those like rings in, and I didn't even know those things fucking existed. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? Just completely threw me off. So that kind of, yeah, that's the reason why. But then, so I tell her, boom, boom, I feel horrible. I ended up going back down. It's like 2 hours away. I ended up going back down there. We talk. I like, I like get it to a point where now I'm thinking like it was just like you do the due diligence, you know. You go there to show her that you're not actually a bad guy. You might have just made a bad decision. And her mom could see that. I could tell. She was like, "Keep your dick in your pants." It's just so funny because I was just like, "What?" I was like, "Of course." I was like, "Dude, I've only had sex with 2 people." And I'm in this drama scene, like, that you see on TV and shit. It's like, oh, man. So then, in my understanding, looking back now, I'm thinking about it. We were like, oh, it was like, oh, like she basically said like, we can't do like a thing where we're gonna try to work. Like, we'll see if there's a way to work it out. And then she ends up like hooking up with. I'm not gonna say what she did, but she hooks up with someone else, like the next weekend or something, which was definitely out of spite and out of. Yeah, it's definitely out of spite when I look back on it because she had she was younger than me, but she had already had sex with someone else before me, so she was not a virgin. So in that sense, you kind of like you already know. Like, you can't use the card like I didn't. I needed to know. It's like you've been with someone else, so you know that's I don't know. So then she calls me back, and then I got to deal with like, God damn it, she fucking did what? She did what? you know. So then we go to winter break, and basically we come to a mutual decision that it's probably time for us to separate. And as we're doing this, we're in the car, and she's at her friend's house, and her other friend is breaking up with her boyfriend. And I had gone to school with this kid, like all high school. I had known him. I had been friends with him in a certain manner at some point in time. School friends when I've seen him outside here and there. He knew me. I knew him. We were friends. We were at some point friends. And they were. It was down. He was down. Like they were like screaming and shit, crying. He went inside. He's like yelling, like, "Please no!" Like, on like the lawn and shit. I'm like, and we're just sitting there like pretty much enjoying our last moments together. So then. The way I look at it is that she regretted her decision because a year later, I see like my boys. I'm at school, and my boys from high school are like, "Yo, look at Twitter or whatever, blah blah." And on Twitter, found. She was like, found pictures of my cheating ex-boyfriend or something, and she's throwing my fucking high school pictures, which I look like a fucking absolute, like I was saying before, like braces and whatever and glasses, and then in my college I'm like long hair, stone beard, all that, blah blah blah. It's hilarious. But she's like throwing those pictures in the fire, and I was like, what the fuck, because now I'm like on forever on the Twitter sphere will be somewhere my high school picture being thrown into the fire with a caption referencing me being a cheater or whatever. If we're gonna go through the playbook, she said let's go on a break, and obviously doesn't mean you're done or whatever, but that means that you're cutting the tie of whatever you name this relationship. You're saying, let's untie it for now and let's see how it feels when we're untied. And I happen to go do something, but then she happens to go do something like in my eyes as spite to get back. Now looking at it from, this is 2014. So 10 years ago looking at it. They're like 9.5 now, looking back. And then 9, yeah. So I was just like, bruh. So forever asking on Twitter and in the internet files, data bank, it's going to be me my picture with in the fire from high school because I was cheating. I was a cheater or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? So in my mind, looking back now, is like it. I guess maybe she didn't enjoy the decision she made, or maybe life doesn't seem like life really got better for her with me not in the picture. And I don't know how it is now. Maybe I hope I hope she's doing great. I always appreciate her for being like the person who helped me break some of the awkwardness and, not be a rookie when I went to college. And after that, like, second occurrence, and like once I got to the spring, like all of a sudden, I don't know, all of a sudden I was like, there's too much influence around, in that way. Not that I was, fucking, I only had sex with 10 people. Some people probably less. I'm sure a lot of people have had sex with a lot more people than I have. Everyone's different, but I feel like 10's a decent number. Good or bad, the way you look at it. It's a decent number. So, but, so I always appreciate her for helping me get the knowledge of what it's like to be with a woman or a girl or whatever. And then I remember in school, I had gotten to a point where I was like, yeah, I'm done doing like the chasing, whatever. I was more just like, my time was coming up soon. I knew I was leaving, and I wanted to try to connect with as many people as possible, and, and try to align myself with the people who might be more progressive or more leaning on that fence. And like I said earlier, not tell everyone, but tell the people that need to hear it, and hope to build people for what is now Oceans on Arrival. Like, we had this idea way before Oceans on Arrival wasn't even a thought of a name yet, but the idea of the group, of the music, of everything was there for a long time. Jason, was pushing it, and, things like that. So that being there, I was always like playing like we could do, like, I was like, if I had, like, imagine if we had 40 people all aligned coming out of that place on the ship right now, we'd be moving at a crazy rate. But unfortunately, that didn't occur. People naturally, or people got herded into whatever section of life, and then, you meet someone, you start a family, all that stuff, blah blah. But at the time, I was like, I'm not gonna meet my wife here. And then next thing you know, I come across someone, and we ended up having a relationship until 2020. And, my last couple of years of school, and, I didn't expect it, but I had some great times. And from that, I learned a lot from the second relationship. And I think I learned all this stuff that it was like more. Now I had the first level, then it was like the next level was a more mature girl, an older girl. She was smoking, I was smoking, so we had connected on that level, and she helped me in certain ways, but I helped her a lot. I feel like I was a big influence in her life, I think, and I guess we drifted apart in certain ways, but I could tell she was trying to figure out the, like, move in together, blah blah blah, and I was just graduated. Like, I'm gonna be back at home for a while, like, figure out this music shit. I need to, I didn't have much music at that point, very little. So I knew I had to do that. I was on that journey. I completed the school journey. Now I had to do this. So. And she was in the point where she didn't know exactly what she wanted to do, and that's a weird conundrum. So we ended up drifting apart. I learned a lot from her. I see things differently now. I also know that what happens if I let my guard down, or like that my guard can be influenced by, like, sexual thoughts or whatever that might have swayed me in different directions. I don't regret anything. Um, I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't do what I did and the steps I took and the decisions I made. Also, what I really learned from that relationship was that honesty and trust and communication are fucking important, vital for the longevity and success of the relationship. The first year, 2 years, you can get by off not, as long as it's not something crazy like cheating or lying, like crazy lies, like, you're stealing, like stuff like that, where it's like just out of pocket, ridiculous. But on the simplest levels, like full truth, transparency, honesty, and that's gotta be like, you gotta be able to trust a person. You gotta be able to know that they're being honest, truthful, and because some things is like it's only fair. Like you have to be truthful in certain areas and certain things that happen. It's only fair to the person that you're trying to spend your like the person that you might be building something with. Uh, like both people have to be able to trust each other, and then through that communication, that's with every relationship, though. But communication is vital. Being able to relay how you feel, relay what your needs, relay just all the information necessary to allow a relationship to grow and flourish, and go through ups and downs. There's going to be ups and downs, but go through them and tweak, just like the joke, you're always going to be tweaking it, but so that's what I learned. So from my two, I appreciate both of them. I would never redo what I've done or like take back what I've done or my decisions. But now, because of that, my perspective of what I need or what would benefit me, or I guess in the sense people always like my dream person, but just in realistically, like what are the, we were talking about boxes and whatever, but like if it was like an application for Ryan's like fiance or whatever, and it's ding 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 ding, and like 8 out of 10 gotta be checked out or whatever, 8 out of 10 of these have to be, like, no one's perfect, like you're not, but that's definitely has to be, communication, trust, honesty, blah blah blah, has to be one of the checks, because my last relationship, I think, failed because of the lack of communication and truth. As much as truth and communication there was, though. So it's just a weird thing, but I always appreciate them. I feel good now. That was a weird way to go in, but there we go, going deeper, but not going too crazy. Getting personable, I guess that's the best part. Getting people to, I'm sure there's other awkward people out there in different ways, and not everyone's gonna have the High School Musical story or the fun fact. My first girlfriend, the way I even talked to her the first time was sliding into her DMs on Twitter with a SpongeBob meme. Yeah, that was and my second girlfriend I met at it was Halloween. It wasn't exactly Halloween, I don't think, but it was Halloween weekend. And she crossed my eye, and I looked her way. So, but I had some great times with her. I had great times with both of them. But yeah, so that was, so what? So, but in the timeline, like, let's see, it was like roughly around 2 or 3 years. It was around it was pretty much like the time that my first girlfriend was, you're starting to decline and it ends up being what it was, to my second girlfriend rising to becoming what it was it, those happened at the similar times but 3 years apart. So yeah, now we're 4 years in, so in that timeline, like, maybe something will occur here in the next little bit. I don't know, but I'm not worried about it, man. I feel like when it's time, it'll be time. They'll cross my way. I will look at them and we will communicate and connect at some point. It's destiny, right? It's eventually gonna happen. And maybe I'm succumb to a life of loneliness and despair. No, if that's it, I'd probably adopt some kids at that point, at some point. But I would love to have some of my own DNA in different ways, just to think there's something different with that. But I also, there's a beauty in adoption and helping raise someone else's kid, or just a kid in general, because the more genuine human beings on the planet, the better. And I I had some good role models for certain things, but I was lacking role models for certain things. So being able to do both would be the benefit. I think that's the benefit of my life. I had a great dad. He's still here. Love him. So Dad, if you watch this, love you. Um, he's been a great dad. But we definitely, there was a time where, like, I'm looking for something that he can't help me with, you know? So hopefully I can be there just like my dad was for me, for my kids, as well as the side that I know I was missing, and hopefully be able to communicate to figure out what they might be missing. Maybe they might not know, but that's how it goes. It's a chain. You get better and better. No one's perfect, and you tweak it. You tweak every time until it gets down to where you think it's perfect, and then you tweak it again, because nothing will ever be exactly perfect, but progression will always be available. Life will always give you tests to check and balance you, and to mark your progression, not on an A B C D E scale, or F scale, but on a measurement of a divine measurement is a good way to put it. There, in a way. So, you know, definitely I could go longer. I was thinking about going into the school system and things like that. But I feel like we touched on some good topics. I definitely opened up a little bit. I definitely didn't foresee myself talking about my previous girlfriends or my sex life. But that's the funny part, because I don't really talk about that because it's not a big thought of mine. Like, obviously they over sexualize stuff, and you might get aroused here and there by certain things. Seems like my Instagram, there's always a fucking half nude girl popping up, and your eyes go there, and you have to, like, pretend like you didn't see it or whatever, or it's still that it triggers certain things, and because of that, like, that's why I think I started this by saying I want to stop watching porn, because I feel like that subconsciously influences you a little more. So maybe if I don't watch that, then I won't be as influenced by the thirst trap or whatever, And not that I'm sitting there liking each girl and going and looking at their profile. Like, literally, you just see it, and then your thought process changes. Your brain pattern ignites things in your brain, So it's like, that's the scary part about going on your phone. You're susceptible to outside influence, and you don't really have control over what you're gonna see, and it could be like a death or something sad or whatever, and it might change your day in the slightest, and at the end of the day, you want to be at peace when you rest, and you want to be at peace when you wake up, you know? And if you can reach those things, it's a beautiful thing. And if you can reach those things with someone who loves you and you can do it together, that's even more beautiful. That's one of the best things you can have, man. So it's just funny how life, as you grow, life perspective changes. A year and a half ago, I was working on my first album. Here I am. Pretty much like I have to, like, there's nothing else in the world that mattered, because it was such a long time coming for me to do that and to get it off my chest and to get it out there and to just solidify that proof that I'm here to do this, show the universe that I'm willing to do the work, just like with this Gauntlet for the podcast. And now a year and a half later, we're 20 podcasts in. Oceans on Arrival is moving on a way that it hasn't moved before, whether it's better or worse in certain types, and we're moving in a different way. And I think for the journey to the destination, it will be better in the end for it, that we are moving like this, and we'll continue to do that. Dang, I kind of lost my train of thought. There was a good connection though, but oh yeah, yeah, just doing all that. We're doing well a year and a half later, 4 years later from the birth of Oceans on Arrival, and Oceans on Arrival as the name, with the entity, the idea, the group, with Jason and I, has been a long time coming, longer than 4 years. It's beautiful to see where it's at now. It's going to be crazy to say that when there's even more, and this is just the beginning, the foundations. Even though we've done so much music out, and so much, it's still just the foundations and the beginning of what is to come when the opportunities come and the blessings that I'm sure will head our way as we continue and progress on our steps, the righteous path. And having like a niece, and about to have another nephew, and having being like a god uncle to another beautiful soul from Calvin and Bree. And it's crazy because, going around the country and trying to spread the word of Oceans on Arrival, and also figure out my own path of, should we stay in Georgia, like what should we do, see the different places, experience what it's like to do that, come home, finish the album, set a new course, new track, new mindset, move into this new house, and then having kids around and being an uncle to kids is just so crazy in such little time. Being an influence, now I'm directly influencing youth versus just trying to have the music out in the movies and whatever to do that, but directly influence the youth is crazy, and that's a big responsibility, and I think I was definitely prepared for it. I was definitely built for it, but I'm definitely learning still. There's some things that you have to learn. Perspective just changes a little bit as you learn those things, and you move and operate in the best way you can to optimize all those moments and to create the best possible life you can for you and the people you love. And at the end of the day, you hope you have more good days than bad, and you enjoy the good days, you survive the bad days with the people you love, and hopefully together we can figure it out as a community, as a earth, and we can let the truth be told. Yeah. So I think that's good. Leave it at that. Oceans on Arrival. on all streaming platforms: YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, probably, uh, Tidal. There's sound. We got sound songs on SoundCloud still. Jason still updates that, I think, here and there. Podcasts, obviously, if you're watching this, then you already know about the podcast. We got some music videos. If you haven't seen them, some more to come. I definitely want to get. Oh, that's what the comment. I wanted to know. I think I was gonna do that on Instagram, but now I can't just leave you hanging. But I want to know if anyone has video of songs that they really love, and they want music videos for them. Please comment. Please let us know, so that we can deliver, because there's a lot of songs that I would like to have videos for. There's only so much time at the moment and to do different aspects of life, so we have to be very precise and calculated with how we use our time and which moves we make at what time. So because of that, maybe a song might get overlooked, or maybe we haven't even thought about doing one for it, and it should very well be deserving of one and needs to be done, and you, the people, will have a say if you say something at all. So I definitely want to know if you have any thoughts or comments. Please comment below. Hit me up on Instagram. Text me if you got my number. If you call me and I don't respond, please text me to say who you are, or leave a message, because sometimes I don't have the contact. So yeah, man. Oceans on Arrival, all platforms. Much more to come. I just reminded myself I got to do the link tree, so I'm going to do that. So much more to come in these next few weeks. This is day 7 out of 8 on the Gauntlet. We got one more tomorrow. Anyone who's on this Gauntlet journey, watching every single one, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'm letting you know that it wasn't that hard. You just got to find the time to do it. Put your mind to it. Put your heart in it. Do your best. Be honest. Be true with whatever you do, and it will work out how it should, how it's all aligned to, how it's all destined. It's just a matter of time when the moments will be the moments. And my also internal resolution is to stay in the moment as much as possible, and to leave the drifting, the reflecting and stuff to the porch and my bed. So stay off the phone, try not to get sucked into the random scrolling, the brain intensify or whatever, triggers or whatever to get the things firing in your brain, whatever they're called, neurons or whatever. So yeah, man, this has been episode 20, Ocean Waves podcast, from the members of Oceans on Arrival, currently just Indigo, Reyen, the Navigator. But this is just the beginning. I've officially caught up. Episode 20. 20 weeks, 20 episodes, and much more to come in the future. I've said that so many times. Much more to come. Much more to come. The future. So I'll leave you with right now one final thought. If you could go anywhere today, where would you go? And if you can get there today, what's stopping you? All right. Love y'all. Indigo, Reyen, the Navigator, signing off from Calvin's mic. If Calvin says some shit about it, he probably will. Oh, you use mic. Y'all should have been here, and I would have been using my purple mic. But for the angle and the fact that I had to leave, I'm going to leave some up because I don't feel like breaking it down until tomorrow. I used the green mic, so yeah, that's your fault for not coming. That's why your mic got used without you. All right. Love y'all. Oceans on Arrival. All podcast. All platforms. Ocean Waves podcast. Thank you very much for listening. And I'll see you then on episode 21. But I will be here to record that tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hmm. I said I was gonna leave you with that, and then I said some other stuff. So why don't we re say? I'm gonna leave you with this. If you could go anywhere in the world today, where would you go? And if you can get there today, what's stopping you? Indigo Ryan. Peace.